So if you stumbled upon this video, it's probably because you're interested in color grading or just wondering how the entire process works. Well, in this video, I'll be breaking down some things that I've learned along the way, which has taken my videos from looking like this to this. Yeah, a pretty big change. I'll also show you the color breakdown I did for one of my recent projects, a spec ad for Wilson Tennis, which is also on the channel. So after this video, go check it out. All right, so the first tip when it comes to color grading is nailing all your in-camera settings before you even head into your editing software. You basically want to get as close as you can to the desired look that you want in camera before heading into post-production. This will make it a whole lot easier once you start color grading, because all color grading really is a bunch of minor adjustments stacked on top of each other. So with dialing in your camera settings, you're gonna wanna shoot in manual. Now, if you haven't gotten the chance to shoot in manual, experiment with manual, or just you have no clue what ISO, aperture, or shutter speed do, you should definitely go and watch a separate video and just experiment with all that stuff and then come back to this video. So once you've learned all your camera settings, you're comfortable shooting in manual, you know what everything does, there's always one rule of thumb I always follow when filming. By the way, when you are filming and plan to color grade after, you're gonna wanna shoot in a flat profile. This would be S-Log, D-Log, or C-Log, just really depending on what camera you're using, but at the end of the day, it all does the same thing, giving you the most dynamic range possible. So when you are filming in a flat profile, you're gonna wanna expose your footage to around 0.7 to 1 stops. By doing so, you're gonna make sure that the details in the shadows are preserved and also maximizing your dynamic range. Basically, the best way I could describe dynamic range is if you had a coloring sheet and you had a 32 box of crayons. You're gonna have stuff like your reds, your blues, your light blues, your greens, etc. Now switch it to a 64 box of crayons or 128 box of crayons, where now you got stuff like shades of blue, shades of red, shades of green. You have a lot more leeway and freedom when it comes to how you want your final image to look like. Now, it's definitely different on every single camera, so I'd recommend that you just go out, start filming, experimenting, see what works with your camera. But I think around 0.7 to 1 stops is perfect. I think anything more than that would just be overexposing and you just lose details in the highlights. So now that you've mastered all your in-camera settings, it's time to sit down and actually start color grading. Now, I definitely know it can be daunting, and I remember when I first sat down and started color grading, I was super overwhelmed. But what if I told you there was a tool that could help speed up your color grading process and give you that cinematic look that we all love so very much? Well, I think I may have something for you. Meet Dehancer, a film emulation plugin that works for both photo and video editing softwares. With over 60 plus film profiles, you're really able to pick any look that you desire. And on top of that, Dehancer also has features like bloom, halation, film grain, and so much more. With all these features, you're really able to produce any type of videos that you want. Now, I got the chance to try out Dehancer for 30 days, and honestly, it is such a game changer. The film grain actually meshes in with the video and makes it look natural, and on top of the 60 plus film profiles, I was easily able to find the right one for my videos. Plus, with all the customizability options that Dehancer provides you with, you can always go in and adjust anything if you need to do so. Dehancer actually provided me with a 10% discount code, so if you are interested, use code DWONG at checkout for 10% off. Now that you're ready to sit down and start color grading, by the way, I do all my color grading work, all my editing work inside DaVinci, but this would basically work with any other editing platform. Anyways, I like to create 4 main nodes when I start color grading. A conversion node, taking my footage from S-Log to Rec 709, white balance, tint, and color corrections. These 4 nodes right here are really the only nodes you need to start color grading, and then after you can add stuff like hue, saturation, and at the end, I also like to add Dehancer as well. So here are my nodes for the spec ad I did for Wilson Tennis. I'm gonna go through these real quick just so you guys have a rough idea of my process and possibly implement some of these into yours. I started out by first transforming my color space back into Rec 709 with this color space transform node. Now, I do have an HDR node before that, but you're really gonna want to transform it from S-Log to Rec 709 first before you do any other adjustments. And then after that, I have nodes like white balance, my tint, and color curves, and basically everything else that I mentioned previously. Of course, I added a few more nodes like tint and curves, and at the end right here, I also added a LUT node just for me to have a base foundation to work off of. Okay, so here is where we start to have a little bit fun. At the end, I added dehancer. Don't mind the skin tones, okay? You don't have to mind those nodes. But at the end of basically all my color grading work, I added dehancer right here. Basically, here we have dehancer's setting. You have options here like exposure, temperature, tint, defringe, and then down here, you're gonna choose your film profile. I went with Kodak Vision 3 250D. I also like Kodak Gold 200 as well. This one is very nice. It's more of like a warmer look, especially for sunny days like this. And then on top of that, you also have your film developer here, film compression. I don't really touch any of these settings, but moving down to film print, I'd use Kodak 2383 print film because that's what a lot of people associate with as the cinematic look or the film look. But you know, they also have a couple other print profiles here like Cineon, Kodak, Fujifilm, stuff like that. You could really just test it out, see how you like it, your vibe, the look that you really want for your video. And then moving down, we also have film grain, halation, bloom, film image, film breath, overscan, like a bunch, vignetting, a bunch of different stuff that you could really use to enhance the visuals of your video. So definitely go check it out, man. So that basically wraps up everything that you need to know to start color grading. This wasn't a tutorial by any means. It was more of a brief breakdown and a simple summary of what you needed to know to start color grading. But if you guys did want a more in-depth tutorial on my color grading process, how to color grade, how to use dehancer, all that stuff, I got you, man. Maybe I could cook something up for you guys. Anyways, I appreciate you guys for tuning in. I hope you guys got something out of this video and go out there and start creating.